So let's go ahead and mention coming up on Coffee With. It's a really interesting local story about a lady named Ella Carroll. That gentleman right there has written, he's written about her and written a movie about her. She was in President Lincoln's cabinet at a time when ladies, weren't even allowed in the front door. It's an interesting local story. A fellow named Bruce Bridegroom, who lives on the West Coast, came east to talk about it. So it's not some local guy promoting some local chick.
Gotcha.
Right down in D.C. It's a real story of major Maryland interest. Sharon Jabala's got WJZ TV traffic control. Look at that beautiful sunrise. Maybe the best sun you see all day. We'll explain it all when we come right back. Stay with us. Okay, it's a very interesting story you're about to hear.
Sounds like it.
And our guest, his name is Bruce Bridegroom. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an incredible story. Bruce Bridegroom, welcome to the Eyewitness News Morning Edition.
Thanks, Marty.
An attorney, a playwright, if you will, a movie maker, a man with real low ambitions in life, as you can tell. But you came across an incredible story, take a look at the internet, involving Ella Carroll, who is in the Maryland Women's Hall of Fame, but more importantly, in an era where we're, talking about Hillary Clinton being a Secretary of State, a member of the cabinet, and other women who have served in cabinet-level positions of the past 20 years, if you will. In Lincoln's time, you found out this lady wasn't actually in the cabinet, but had that much power in Lincoln's administration.
In those days, for an American woman to do what she did was an unusual accomplishment, because American women in those days were almost like a Muslim woman is today. They couldn't vote, they weren't lawyers, they couldn't hold office, and that made what she did even more amazing, but nobody knows about her.
Why is that? First off, tell them, give them the 20-second version. Here's what she did.
Right. Ella Carroll was born in 1815. Her father was the governor of Maryland. She got a job for the National Intelligencer, which was a newspaper out of Washington, sort of a investigative recorder, if you will. And later she started her own political party, the American Party. They ran Millard Fillmore as a candidate in 1856. He proposed to her. She shot him down. And in 1860, the American Party merged with the Republican Party, and Lincoln became president. But Maryland was about to secede from the Union. It was a very close call, and she helped Maryland not secede by going to Lincoln and saying, Mr. Lincoln, I'll give you a 50-page brief about your presidential powers. And he read that brief, and he was very impressed by it, and made her an unofficial member of his cabinet.
A kitchen cabinet, as Andy Jackson had in his administration. In other words, here's the cabinet. Now, come on, 2 or 3, let's go back here and talk. She maybe was the most powerful woman in America during the Civil War.
Well, she was until about the beginning of 1863, and then she wasn't around anymore, and there's a reason why she wasn't around that I figured out, and if you would see my movie, you would see what that reason was. But Lincoln was voted our best president by Time magazine, and Mrs. Lincoln was voted the worst first lady, and so that had something to do with it, I think.
So in other words, Lincoln's wife just simply didn't want another woman around.
I think that had something to do with it. She was jealous of Ann Carroll.
But what a significant person. I wouldn't diminish her by saying footnote to American history. What a significant person. And now she's just finally coming to light.
Well, in 1876, they had a Senate resolution to make her an honorary, or actually a major general, 11 years after the war, but that got tabled, and then she died.
But the mere fact that there was this resolution, the mere fact she started a political party and successfully ran a man who became the President of the United States, My God almighty. The current Republican Party can trace its roots back, in part, to a political party started by a Maryland woman.
Well, she was very important in the early days of the Republican Party. But the major thing that she did was to come up with a battle plan that helped the Union win the Civil War. And that was
it's pretty good on your resume.
Trying to get credit for the rest of her life, but never did, because Lincoln died 6 days after the war was over, and
he couldn't say, here's the person that did thus and such.
Yeah, he couldn't give her credit during the war because she was a civilian and even worse, a woman.
But now, in this era of incredible mass communication, internet, I mean, there she is. Now tell me, just briefly, the name of the movie is?
Lost River.
And where can someone find this?
Well, we're going to have a premiere
planned years ago. It's time for me to meet
in Cambridge on November 20th. Mm-hmm. And I believe you can find something about it on friendsofAnnaCarroll.org.
Bruce, this is absolutely fascinating.
Well, thank you very much, Marty.
So we'll plan on seeing you a couple weeks before or when you come in town for the premiere, and we'll continue the story.
That'll be great. I like that very much.
Now you know something you didn't know. Check her out. Do a web search for Anna Ella Carroll, Carroll. I'm going to blow your mind. As a great man, George Bauman, used to say, in Maryland, by George. It's the truth. We're taking a break. Come right back with more of the Eyewitness News Morning Edition.